Good afternoon. I guess everybody's watching the market today, and I don't even know what it's doing right now. It was positive. It, yeah, the comp is positive. Anyway, I'm going to talk a little. I'm going to do several things here. I'm going to talk a lot about this Perfect Speculator scan. I did a video on it. I hope you had a chance to watch it. I think that is really one of the best ways to prospect for stocks that are either leaders or going to be leaders, because every stock or ETF has to go through the 52 week high and also a multi-year high. But HCSI has a way of picking these up early, and that is through the top 50 group inclusion report. That's one way. And I'm going to go through that and show you some of that today and what I've been experimenting with. But let's take a quick look here at the market. I don't want to spend much time on this, but I'm going to click through to the warehouse. This is a new screen layout I'm experimenting with, and this should be a daily chart here. I have a Samsung monitor, and I went online, and they have a utility which allows you to lay out your screen. And if I click on this window right here, and you can see the layout that I've chosen right here, I can put a weekly chart over here and a daily chart. Or there are multiple layouts, and you can adjust the layout to fit your screen the way you want it to. So this is something I've been experimenting with this week, and I really like it because I can see strength or weakness up here in these charts, and then I can do my scanning or screening down here below. So it works out really well. Anyway, let's take a very quick look at the market. And I want to go into my user smart groups and my market analysis user groups, and let's just take a look here. It's not going to tell us a whole bunch. I'm not going to rebuild these to look at the internals unless you want me to. But it looks like Bitcoin's up a little bit. The S&P 500 is actually up, and the Nasdaq 100's up, and the S&P 100's up. What's down? The utilities, the short-term VIX, and the small caps and the mid caps are down also, and the SOX is still down 4.04%. So this is the intraday column right here. I've been working on other things, and I haven't really paid a lot of attention to this. So, but this looks good after the strong sell-off yesterday, and that sell-off obviously was news related with the debt downgrade by Fitch, and that's an excuse to take profits. I'm not so sure this market has broken down yet. In fact, it has to convince me a little bit more. These markets just don't roll over that quickly unless there's a major scare like a COVID collapse or a terrorist attack or something like that. So we'll see. I mean, they're trying to keep it propped up today. And you can see this. Here's the Qs right here. We have a low volume test. Here's the weekly. This is a weekly engulfing candle, but this is today, and you can see that the 3 did go below the 6 yesterday on this gap down, but you're seeing buying coming in today. Volume's a little bit lighter, can see where the volume is going to be here. This is a projected volume. So there is, what does that say? It says there's no panic selling, or panic selling is not following through. At least that's the way I interpret it. You may interpret it a little bit differently. This is the Bitcoin popping up there. Anyway, that's the cues. Let's take a look quickly. I'll put the SPY in here. See if it's giving, yeah, same thing, low volume test on the SPY. Now, these VPA signals are not, well, I should say they're not complete until the day is complete. But right now, with a little less than an hour, they're both showing buying coming in today on reduced volume. Okay, any market questions? I don't want to go into it too deeply. I just want to take a quick look and show you what I'm looking at. Okay, now what I want to do next. Did anybody here have a chance to look at that the video on the debit spreads, the in out spreads? I know there aren't many of you online, but that's something that I need to get my chat up here so I can see. Okay. Well, I'm not going to cover that then. I don't know how much interest there is in it, but it's just something that I do a fair amount. I just don't want to risk a lot of money, but I want to be in the market. And I'm more risk averse at my age than I've been in the past. So I'm not going to spend time on that. Let's go in, and I want to talk, like I said, about the Perfect Speculator, because for stocks to become really strong stocks, they have to go through that filter. So I'm going to go into my user smart groups. I have to move this. And down here at the bottom are 3 groups. These are Perfect Speculator stocks, or stocks that have hit a 52-week high or a 3.25-year high, and they're down no more than 5% from that level. And you can see that there are 406 of them in here. So that doesn't seem right. It seems like there should be more than that. I know, I've got a filter on, that's why. I still do that. I still make that mistake. Okay, so no, that's evidently what's left after yesterday's sell-off, but that's fine. I'm going to take this list of stocks, and I'm going to transfer them to the warehouse. And you can see 413 of them. And then I'm going to go up under my file, and I'm going to save list as, and I've already done this earlier today, so I'm going to repeat it. Perfect Speculator stocks within 5% of the 52-week high. I'm just going to save that. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to next go into the designer, and I'm going to click on filters, and I'm going to type the word symbol, and I'm going to bring up a symbol list, and I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to, you don't have to do this, by the way. I'm just showing you the power of the perfect speculators in the top 50 group inclusion report. I don't expect you to do this. There's too many steps. But here is this list of 400 and some stocks that I just saved. Okay? 413 securities are now in this filter. So I'll click on OK and I'll close it. And now what I want to do is I'm going to run this filter against the HGSI top 50 stocks that are created automatically every day in HGSI. And we're going to see these stocks in this list, how many times they've appeared in these top 50 groups since the beginning of the year. Okay? So I'm going to click on this up here, which is a group inclusion report. I'm going to use the applied filter, which are the perfect speculator stocks that you see over here on the right. And I'm going to make a group from this list, and I'll just call this a top 50 perfect speculator stocks. And I'll make a group from that. Okay. But I need to go up here and go into custom groups, and I need to click on 2023, and that selects every month up until last night. And I'm going to check the children. What the children does is it makes sure all the stocks are selected. So let's see what turns up in this list of 50 and how many times they have appeared in these groups. It's coming. Okay, so here we have it. If you look over here at the right, you can see that Booking, which is an expensive stock, has appeared 70 times in the top 50 group inclusion reports since the beginning of the year. If I scroll down, you can see Pulte has appeared 68 times, Broadcom, another expensive stock, 59 times, ELF Beauty 49 times, and so on. Now these are the dates when they appeared, okay? And I'm going to go in and I think I'll take a look at PHM first and look at the dates where they appeared. What you can do with this, and like I said, I don't expect you to do it. It's kind of complicated, but you can take this list and then you can go back and see I still have my filters engaged. I can go back in on the top 50 2023 and go in to the January, and when I click, because this filter is attached, and these are the stocks that have made an appearance, they'll show up over here. So I said I was going to take a look at Pulte Group. That was appearing clear back on January 3rd. Now, if you do this, if you watch this video and figure out how to do this, you can come up here and you can click on this little blue area up here. And what that does is it gives you a report. This is from the 3rd. These stocks are from the 3rd. It's going to give you the report from the 4th, which is the next day. And you can see right here where which stocks appeared and how many smart groups they appeared in. And let me type in, I need to do a Control F, PHM. So it appeared on that date, the 3rd, This is a report for the 4th, but the stock appeared the 3rd. And you can see that it appeared 7 times, and these are the groups that it appeared in. Now, the reason I'm going through all this stuff is I'm looking back and I am figuring out which of these smart groups appear the most often, and then I can build a filter with those smart groups. And I showed you that last time. I can build a filter with those smart groups and concentrate only on the groups that are appearing the most times. So let's just go up here and look. I want to scroll down this list. That's PHM, but here's another housing stock that was appearing on that day. And you can see how many times it appeared in these smart groups. And a lot of it, the smart groups that come up the most often, and I don't see it in the first one here, but it seems to be stocks and groups moving to the upside. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to highlight that, and I'm going to do a Control C, and then you do a Control F for find, and I'm going to paste this in here, and this is stocks and groups moving to the upside. If you look over here, well, I probably don't need to expand that. If you look over here, this is the whole list of all of these Perfect Speculator stocks, and every one of these orange bars over here shows you where the stocks and groups moving to the upside appears. So here's the first one. This is orange. I highlighted this one. And every yellow bar along here, or orange bar over here, but yellow within here, shows you how often this comes up. So what I'd want to do, obviously, when I'm building a filter, is I want to include the stocks and groups moving to the upside. Let's see what other groups are appearing in here. This is consistent earnings growth box stocks. Let's do a copy there, and Control F, Control V. So how often are we seeing consistent earnings growth box stocks? Now look how solid this is here. Not so much up at the top, but as you get down into the body, as I scroll down here, you can see that that is another group which appears quite often. So what's it telling me? It's telling me that stocks that become perfect speculator stocks, first of all, are most often in the stocks and groups moving up, and also they are stocks, box stocks, or stocks with consistent earnings growth. So if I'm building a filter, which I'll do, show you how to do it in case you don't know, I'm going to make sure that I have stocks and groups moving up, both the regular one and the 1 to 15, and then I'm going to add the consistent earnings growth also. So let's do one more. I have to make sure I don't put the date in there, because otherwise it'll limit it to the date. Control copy. Let's see if I can just paste this in here. Yeah, I can. No, that didn't work. Control C, clear it. Control F, Control V. There we go. So stocks and groups moving to the upside. Oh, I didn't want that. I already did that. I wanted this one. Okay, so let me clear that. Control. Somebody's mic's open. Okay, so it looks like I'm losing customers. People must not be interested in this, but that's fine. I'm going to start looking at some stocks in a minute, and then you'll see what I look for. Anyway, you can see that this one appears not nearly as much. So I'm not going to put that one in. So when I build that filter, I'm going to do the box stocks and the stocks and groups moving up for the first two. But I would go through this process of elimination and build the filter, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look for stocks that appear in these smart groups most often, and then I want to cut down my list to a watch list that's manageable. Now I can look at all these stocks, but I can also make a user smart group that limits the price between, let's say, $1 and $15 or $1 and $25 or whatever. And if that's the type of stock that you want, we can, build a smart group to limit it to that. Okay, so let me do something here. I want to clear this. I'm just going to capture. I'm going to capture this and go on another screen, and then I'll have something to refer to when I build the group. But let's take a look here at some of these things, and now it gets more interesting. I just wanted to take you through that part. But let's take a look like at Boeing. I should have left that up there. Boeing goes clear back to the 3rd of January. That's where it was appearing, because I've got the filter on, and I'm on the 3rd of January folder. So let's take a look at Boeing. And okay, is Boeing BA? BA, okay, that's what I thought. I better spell out Boeing because there's too many BAs. Okay, Boeing. So you can see just by going down to this list that stocks and groups moving to the upside appeared. There were some from Gill, Code Blue, Force Index, that's Gills, and so on. So Force Index 5 or 10 day is another one that comes up a lot. That's one I think I might add in there also. But this is going back to the 3rd of January. So let's get this out of the way. And let's go into and I'll just take a look at Boeing on the 3rd of January. Bring this out here. Put my crosshair on. It's already on. Put my info window on. And let's look at the 3rd of January. Well, you can see that Boeing was already moving. It's going back into last year, but this group that I built only goes back to the 1st of January. So the 3rd of January. So this is on the 3rd, and it's coming up here. And you can see that its run got up to about that high, and then it's kind of petered out and hasn't done much since then. So I would really have to go back into the prior year to pick up these signals. Let's find another stock. See, Boeing was really strong in here. This is why I like to have the weekly up at the same time as the daily. And then you can see how it's just chopped around, reflecting what had happened over here on the daily chart. Let's find another stock that came up on that day. I need to get back into my designer. And I need to go to the 3rd. My filter came off, so I need to go in here. Symbol list. I think that's what I need. Yeah, it is. Okay, booking's too expensive. How about Builder First Source or Apolte? This has been a great stock for a long time. So let's look at it, and I'll bring up the group inclusion report. PHM. Oh, it's not PHM. What is it? PPHM. Somebody's got their mic on. And these are the groups that it appeared in. Consistent earnings growth, box stocks, demand short term, strong 240. That one doesn't come up all that much. Here's stocks and groups moving to the upside again. Breakout from squeeze and mobile breakout. These are Jeffries filters. So those could be put in too if you're looking for breakout from squeeze or mobile breakout. But let's look at Poldy going back to the 3rd of January. Okay, first of all, let's look over here at the left side. January 1st is in here. You can see that it's already in an uptrend at that point. And it's already breaking out. That's the week ending the 6th. It's already breaking out to a new, probably 52-week high at this point. Well, let's see. No, it wouldn't quite be a 52-week high. But it is trending up. It's had a price trend change because you need 3 higher highs. Here's the first higher high. The second higher high occurred here. And then the third higher high occurred here on the weekly. So the trend is definitely up on the 3rd of January. We're updating, unfortunately. I should have turned that off. So January 3rd, that's the 4th. Right here is the 3rd. And I'm going to zoom out and come back to this so you can see it better. Okay, here we are on the 3rd. That's the 4th. Here's the 3rd right here. So it was showing up on the 3rd right here, and before it moved up, notice that the 3 crossed the 6 on the 3rd right there, and the group was going up, and it had several consecutive days of moving up after that. The VPA flag was streak seen returning after a downtrend, and this was a confirmation of that. Then there was a test and a verification of that test, or confirmation, I should say. And then there were only 2 red candles. So you don't worry about 2 red candles, especially when the 3 remains above the 6. And this went on to have a really nice run between the 3rd and what date is this here? The 2nd first. So for a month. Let's just do this. Put this on here. Am I on the 3rd? Well, I'm on the 4th. So let's just put a line on here that I can see. I've got my line here. So over that time period, what did it do? If I look down here at the bottom, It's up 25.6% over 20 periods. So it was a nice move, and it caught it here. And the point is, it was showing up in the top 50 group inclusion report, and it was probably showing up as a perfect speculator stock at that point too. I don't have a history going back of the perfect speculator stocks. I'm building one now, but I don't have it going back. But my assumption is, while I'm doing this, is that because they're appearing in the top 50 group inclusion report on that date, that they are also a perfect speculator stock, because it would, well, I know how I can check this. But even if they're not a perfect speculator stock, if they're appearing in the top 50 group inclusion report, there's a reason they're in there, because they're passing all of the filter, the groups that I'm talking about. I'm going to clear the annotations. I'm sure it's not a, no, I'm wrong about that. It wouldn't be a perfect speculator stock there. But let's see, by the 10th, you can see I'm looking back here. By this point right here, see, it cleared this, it would be coming up as a perfect speculator stock right there. It's coming up as a group inclusion report stock on the 3rd of January, and probably before that too. But for it to get into that perfect speculator list, it has to either hit a 52-week high or a 700 days high, 784 days, I think, or 3.25 years. But my whole thesis here, or point, is if you want to find winning stocks, they're going to be strong stocks, like in this bull run that we've had, that have a strong weekly chart, and they also are hitting a 52-week high and pulling back. Hopefully, you want to buy the ones that are pulling back. You don't want to necessarily buy the ones that are breaking out. So, in this instance here, if this was showing up in the group inclusion report earlier, then you'd want to buy it here. But once they start going, you can buy them. But just make sure you look at the weekly chart too. If the weekly chart is starting to go up, that gives more confirmation that these are good stocks to buy. Now, I don't want to continue going over all this stuff. If you want me to, I will. But why don't we go ahead and build a filter? Kirkpatrick RS90, because a lot of stocks, new stocks, don't have a Kirkpatrick 90, Robert. They have to have 26 weeks of weekly closes to even start appearing. But no, that's a good idea. I mean, I that's why I put these columns in here. See, right here's an example. This one doesn't have a Kirkpatrick ranking yet. It's a weak stock. But here is a 96 RS stock in HCSI, and it's blank on Kirkpatrick. Let's bring it up and take a look at it. That's a little cheap stock, but there's no ranking yet because it probably hasn't traded long enough. Let's see if, or maybe there's some other reason. Well, this has traded a long time. Let's go into the help file. You got a second here? I thought it was 26 weekly closes only, but maybe there's some other criteria. I don't want to spend time on this unless it just comes up immediately. It won't even let me type in there for some reason. Kirkpatrick. Not even coming. I don't want to spend time on it. But there must be some other criteria too, because that stock that I showed you has traded for a long time. I'll look it up and get back to you on that, or get back to everybody on it. But that's why I don't use it. So let's go back to the designer, and under user smart groups, I already created these Perfect Speculator stocks here last time. I already went over that, and these are 52 weeks high with the 3 below the 6 setting up. They've hit the magic mark, and they are pulling back now. They're within 5% is what I should say. These are not, let me clarify that statement. These are not 52-week high stocks today. They're within 5% of the 52-week high. Why did I use 5%? It's an arbitrary number, but I figure if they're down more than 5%, they might be raggedy or they're going down, so I just kept it within those parameters. Let me just bring this up. We'll take a look at it. Okay, so you can see that it's greater than minus 5% on the percent close to the 52-week high, or the day's close is 798 days, which is 3.25 years. And then I eliminated the investment companies in here because, when the SPACs were hot and heavy, we were getting all that stuff coming up. There were thousands of them, or at least hundreds of them, and I just didn't want them. And I also eliminated the word acquisition, which was coming up in the business description of these stocks. And these have to have a white body. Let's see. Yeah, okay. It's here, let me bring that over. Kirkpatrick RS ranked the ratio of the last weekly closing price to the 26-week moving average of closing prices. The entire list is ranked in percentiles. Okay. Yeah, raw data contains the actual computed value. So why that stock that I looked at, which is right here, and I'm on the weekly charts, I don't know why it would not compute. Do you have a good answer for me, Robert? I don't either. It doesn't make any sense. I'll ask George or Matt about it. But yeah, I like Kirkpatrick relative strength because it's not as squirrely as, I don't know if that's a correct word, as the ACSI RS. The ACSI RS, and I've explained this many times, it takes 40% of its ranking from the last 3 months, and then the other 9 months are split up 20-20-20. So it's really weighted towards the last quarter, but just 40% of it. Whereas the Kirkpatrick, it takes a longer look. And let me go down to another chart here. Now I'm curious about this. Support and resistance lines. Don't I have one in here? Well, this is the one with relative strength. I don't know. I'll try to figure it out. But let's not get bogged down here. I just want to go in and show you that if you want to go through this exercise I did earlier, and I'm sure you don't because it's time consuming, But the groups that keep coming up the most are the uh, yeah, I do too. The Robert says I think the RS versus the SPX and Kirkpatrick RS is a good combo. Yeah, that would be a good combo. Do I have that in any charts? I don't think. Do I? I've got the RS versus the SPX and RS versus the NASDAQ and the group. I don't. Yeah, okay. Some charts have the Kirkpatrick RS value. Okay, I don't know. Let me think about that. If we could do something like that too. Anyway, if you want to alter any of these groups because you don't like looking at the high price stocks, it's really just a very simple matter to do that. And let's say that I want a list here of these perfect speculator stocks within 52 5%. I'm going to go in and I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to make it 5 to $50. You just go in and you duplicate the filter, you edit the filter. Last close is 5. Insert row. Type in last and find last close is less than or equal to $50. And then you do a preview to check your work. Do any of you build filters? Robert, you build filters, I assume. Okay, last close. Sort on that. 49.61, and it goes down to 587. So I know the filter's good then. And I want to edit this because I need to name the filter. $5 to $50. And then I'm going to rebuild. Good, Tom. Tom builds his too. I'm going to rebuild this. I'm going to be gone next week. We're gonna take a little vacation, which I never do. But I'll be trying to keep the non-index groups and so on updated. So I won't be on Skype, but if you just download those or the group every morning, mid-morning, it should be up to date. So what do we have it? Cut it down to 156 stocks from 406, and this is just as of last night. So let's say if this is your area that you like to deal with, and you don't want to look at a bunch of expensive stocks and waste your time, they're down here now in the Perfect Speculator within 5% of 52-week high, but this is pretty long now. I can't read it, but I know. See, if I click back, it goes into that group. Yeah, that's all you have to do, Tom. Don't work from the beginning. So here we are right here. What is this stock here? Intraday last 43.47. So now I just don't have to look at a bunch of stuff that I don't want to, and let's go in here and do a little analysis here. And this is Modine, MOD. You can see that the first higher high, second higher high, third higher high, the weekly chart is up. And there is a big move here. Let me see how this layout works really well for me. If you have a Samsung monitor or an LG monitor, you can download their utilities, and it really makes it easy to get around here. So what is this date here? And it is May 25th, and we had an effort to rise. But before that, we had on the same day, effort to rise, and this stock made a really nice move up here and pulled back. The 3 went below the 6 a little bit, so, that's an area that I like to look for to buy and or possibly buy. And then it slipped down to even and flat here. You can see that it didn't go, well, it did go below it, just barely. And it's set up again, but volume, what volume do here? Volume got quiet. Look at that. If volume is quiet and it's a tight candle, that's really a good sign, because it really means there isn't a lot of selling pressure at that point. So had another nice move, another pullback. And when did earnings come out? Earnings are due in November, so earnings are out. They probably came out yesterday and had a big move yesterday. But just out of fun, let's see if we can track this down. What did I say this was? The words. There's what I'm looking for. The 25th of May. Just out of curiosity, let's go back in the designer. And let's go into these top 50s. You have to click on this folder for this icon to come up. See, if I'm down here, this doesn't show up. If you click in the top 50s, it shows up. And then you can go in and look at an HTML for that date. What did I say the date was? The 25th of May. So let's go into the 25th of May. And there it is. Isn't that great? So I'm telling you, look at that, the top 50 reports. It's golden, and I don't do it enough. I haven't done it enough, but I missed out on so much on this rally well, first of all, I've spent a tremendous amount of time putting this program together the way I want it. And I've got everything where I want it. Now it's just prospecting. I mean, the market's extended now, a lot of extended stocks, but there still are stocks to buy. Okay, now let's go in here. Let's look at these setting up today. Now these are all the stocks. The price encompasses everything. But you can modify these, and I can modify them, and I can put them out there for you if you want me to, or do you want to do it yourself? I'll do it in the morning if you want me to. Okay. So here, these are 3 below the 6 as of yesterday. You can see that here in the column. And looks like Deckers must have reported earnings, because they're up 14, or it's up 14%, and it's holding at 96% of its daily range. Let's take a look at it. It only trades 218,000 shares, so it doesn't take much to move it. First of all, look over here. Look at the weeklies first. If the weekly looks good, that gives me and it should give you more confidence to take a trade. Robert said Maud had an RS of 97, Kirkpatrick a 99. Is that currently, Robert? I'll go back and look at it. Okay, look what we have here with. Okay, from the chart. Okay, look what we have here. This has a Kirkpatrick of 90, or a regular ACSI rank of 90 and a Kirkpatrick of 90 on this one. Strong chart here. Decker's Outdoor Advertising. This is an expensive stock too, isn't it? I mean, this is why I think it's a good idea to check or determine price points that you want to look at, and then just modify the smart groups to only look at those stocks rather than wasting a bunch of time. I didn't look here first. I should have. I mean, there's this last column here. Let me sort that again. Last column right here, which shows the intraday price. But and you can just do that. Let's look at Summit Materials. It's up percentage only 170. But that's all right. It's up. Weekly chart looks really good up here until it's stalled. It's still in the trading range. It hasn't made 3 lower lows at all, so it's in an area that's a buy. But you can see where these weeks over here translate to this right here. Just isn't doing anything right now. And the earnings are out because the next earnings date is November 1st, 2023. And it gapped up, but it failed. There's resistance over here. Look where it failed, right at resistance right here. Bring it up here so we can see better. Look at that. And then I like to check the news, alternate in. I'm looking at bar charts news here, see if there is anything. They reported clear back on August 2nd. So I don't know what this was about. Probably some upgrade or something, but it certainly failed. And I could have looked right here to this intraday range to see that it failed. It's down in the yellow. The ones that remain in the green are the ones that are holding up best for the day. Let's look at this Tangier Family Outlets. 23.57. It's in the price range I'd like to look at. Start with the weeklies. Weekly looks good. We only had one lower low here when this low was taken out, and then it reversed. And then we had a low volume test on the weekly. Effort to rise, and it's setting up again on the weekly chart. And it's up today. This actually looks pretty nice. Earnings are due the 3rd. That's today, probably after the market. So that's why I put this earnings due right here, in addition to having it down in the warehouse over, where is it in here? I can't believe that I don't have it in this column. Oh, I am in the wrong scan. That's why. Okay, last date, and then the earnings due. I put them in here, but it's easy to overlook. That's why I put them right here. So when I'm looking at a stock, I say, oh, the earnings are due, and stay away from it. I'm going to look quickly at the news and headlines. Darn it. Hit the wrong thing. Sorry about that. It's got a 4.3 dividend yield. Well, I don't know. I don't want. I'm going down a rabbit hole there, like Ian used to say. Anyway, it's setting up nicely. See how the earnings do. I'm going to add it to a watch list. Choose new 2023 0803. I'll look at it tomorrow and see what happens. This recording really bogs down my computer. Okay, so, but the what I'm looking for here before I get too sidetracked is stocks that have pulled back and are setting up. And a way to do this, if you don't want to make another group, is of course sort on this, put the cheaper stocks at the top, and then you can look down this column to see which ones are up and how the range is holding up. And you can see here's a $15 stock on top. It's down 47%. I mean 0.47 cents, but it's at 78% of its daily range. So maybe it's sold off and it's coming back. So let's just bring it up and find out. And that's exactly what happened. Mueller Water Products, the earnings are also today. See that? See how convenient it is just to look at this chart. And this is my 2C chart, so I can pull it up and look at the 3 crossing the 6. But this one reports today too. I'm going to add it to that latest group. I'm going to look at it tomorrow. But it's all over here. If you want to sort and look for stocks that are reporting today, all of these are reporting right here. They pulled back and they're reporting. A lot of different sorts you can do with this stuff, but I think one of the primary things is to find a scan that you like and concentrate on it. I mean, I've got so much stuff in here, it overwhelms me too. But it's there, and just find something you like. And I really do like these Perfect Speculator stocks because I know they're strong, or they wouldn't be in this category. And when they come up, they have a tendency to go a lot higher. It's just it's a can slim principle. If not all of the can slim, but if there's demand for them and they keep going up, they have a tight weekly chart, and this is not real tight. It's just the odds are that the trend's going to continue up if the market holds up and if the group holds up. Now let me look at one thing here. One more thing. Okay, these are all of the stocks that were within 5% as of last night for the Perfect Speculator. This group is way down. Yesterday hurt it a lot because the day before there were over 700 stocks in this list. I know because I looked at it. Okay, so back to the designer. And I want to transfer this to here. And the reason I want to do that, this shows what percentage of these are up today, 45.1 and 54 down. But I wanted to actually look and see what industry groups are the most dominant. Application software, REITs, oil and gas, midstream. Let's look at it from a sector perspective. Industrials have been doing well. Consumer discretionary, financials. And you can also look at it from the major industries. But this is an excellent place to start and look every day. And just duplicate my groups and modify them. But the problem, one thing, actually, I better do it. You can experiment, but if you do it, make sure your filters are linked to your user groups. Otherwise, when you update the add-on, my filters are going to overwrite your filters. And I don't want that to happen. So you want me to take these two groups right here and put them within 5% of the 52-week high, but in the $5 to $50 range? It'd take me 2 minutes, as you saw. And I don't know what price range stocks you like to trade, but when you're wasting time looking at $800 stocks where the options are so illiquid you can't trade them anyway. Tom, you want 65 all right with the few of you that are on here? All right, let's do it right now on the one. So just 65, filter, edit, 65, 65, okay, so that one's done. I'm going to do this right here in front of you, okay? I want to cancel that. I want to duplicate it. This is setting up. This is going to be a lengthy name. Duplicate. $5 to $65. Insert row. Okay, 5 to 65. I'm just checking everything. And then I have one more to do. Duplicate, edit. Duplicate, edit. Whoops. Insert row. Last close. I didn't do my previews, did I? I'm sure it's fine. Okay. I always preview. Okay, right here. All right. So it's just a matter then of yeah, it cuts down the list a lot. I mean, there's really no reason to look at all those stocks. And, when I do webinars in the future, we can do stuff like this to really fine tune the user smart groups, or I'll do them beforehand and then explain them to you. Because, the rest of the time, I've got everything in place except for really how I want to prospect. And the first one here that I'm going to use the most, I shouldn't say the first one I'm going to use the most is the Perfect Speculator. So you can see here's setting up for everything, and that is 40 stocks. 5 to 65 cuts it down to 15. So it's going to save you a lot of time. And this one, as soon as it quits updating, this goes from 39 to 18, and this is the crossing over. Okay, and then what I have to do is I'm going to have to export these to the add-on file and export the filters too, and then they'll be available for you tomorrow morning. How's that sound? Any questions? I went a little bit over, but and then the first part I know it was kind of dragging, but I just wanted to prove to you, thank you, that I wanted to prove to you that the stocks that are coming up in the top 50 every night more than likely appeared, or the Perfect Speculator stocks more than likely appeared in the top 50. That's where they show up. And I'm going to look at that list more closely, the HTML, and just modify these groups. I didn't want to do that. Modify the groups or build watch lists based upon the groups that are appearing most often in the smart groups. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I'll be working on that. Not this week, but when I get back.